Hey everybody, had a message for you today. I just want to talk to you about the Sabbath. So that's Sunday, every Sunday. Everybody knows there's 7 days in a week, but there's some interesting stuff about the Sabbath that a lot of people overlook and they don't pay attention to, um, whether or not they're practicing believers or not. This is something that is stated in the Bible. It's stated in the Ten Commandments, specifically about the Sabbath or Sunday. And I thought it was interesting because I know I'm super connected with God, and I have just a very good relationship with Him. And I live my life practicing the way of Jesus. But the one thing that I don't do that much of is practice the Sabbath. So I've been reading a little bit about that and just trying to get some more information on it, and what all goes into practicing the Sabbath. So I have learned it is extremely important. It's basically a day of resting and worshiping. And I do part of that. I do try to take it easier on Sundays. It is a little tough for me because I am a real estate agent. So, when it's not NFL football season where all the games are played on Sundays, we do a lot of open houses on Sundays. So we do usually wind up working a little bit of that. And I'm really going to try to not work on Sundays, and practice, the Sabbath instead, since that is what is required, through the commandments. Um, but I'm reading a book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And in here, about maybe a little more than halfway through the book, maybe three quarters of the way through the book, there's a big part in here where it talks about the Sabbath and practicing the Sabbath. And it kind of, brings it back to the beginning, of creation, of time, with, when God created the animals and God created the humans. Um, I just kind of want to get back to that in Genesis, where it starts with in the beginning. So the story of the Bible starts with in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. But after 6 days of hard work to get the universe up and running, we read the following. By the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested from all of his work. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all work of creating that he had done. So that's interesting. Um, he rested. God rested. He took time to rest. So if he took time to rest, he's commanding us to take time to rest. We need our rest. We need time to relax and unwind and to stop and delight at the miracles of what is around us and in the world. It says the Sabbath is an entire day set aside to follow God's example, to stop and delight, to delight in the world, in our lives in it, and above all, in God Himself. It says, He blessed the seventh day and made it holy. And this is something that I really think was interesting that I saw in the book. Was the author had said, recently I read a survey done by a doctor who cited the happiest people on earth. Near the top of the list was a group of Christians called Seventh day Adventists who are religious literally about the Sabbath. Um, this doctor noted that they lived 10 years longer than the average American. So these people that take the day to rest and worship and take in the beauty of the Sabbath, to stop and delight. That's the words I was looking for. To stop and delight in the Sabbath, lived an average of 10 years longer than the average American. And then the author says, I did the math. If I Sabbath every 7 days, it adds up to, wait for it, 10 years over a lifetime. Almost exactly. So when I say the Sabbath is life giving, that's not empty rhetoric. If this study is to be believed, every day you Sabbath, you're statistically and scientifically likely to get back an elongated life. Think about that. For every day that you, or for every day that you Sabbath, you'll get a day extended on your life. That's amazing. That statistic. They lived an average of 10 years longer, and it actually worked out to 10 years, taking 1 day a week off. And the author joked around and he said, from now on, I'm Sabbathing 3 days a week just to get a little extended life there. So I don't think it works like that, but and not only will you live longer, even more importantly, you'll live better. So that was interesting. Let me see if there's anything else in here. Yeah, this is God talking about the 7 days. He said, then God said this, 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. Notice that key line, a Sabbath to the Lord, that can also be translated as set apart for the Lord or dedicated to the Lord. So the Sabbath isn't just a day for rest, it's also a day for worship. By worship, I don't necessarily mean singing at church, though that's a great example. I mean whole life orientation towards God. So whole life focus towards God. Take note because this next line is crucial. The Sabbath isn't the same thing as a day off. Yeah, interesting. It's not like just taking a day off and doing what you want that day. So, I can say honestly that I haven't been practicing the Sabbath as much as I need to. So, I'm really going to start trying to do that on Sundays. Take time to rest and relax and recharge and worship God. I guess this is why it's so important to go to church on Sundays. You should start your day off like that. First thing you do, you should get up, go to church, and worship. For me, I was doing that anyway. I love, that's like the favorite part of my week is getting up Sunday mornings, early when everybody else in my house is still asleep and, sneaking off and going to church and, getting to church early, getting to see all the people there and, getting in my seat and getting ready for service and getting the music starts pumping and we start getting excited, and we usually have like 2 or 3 songs. Then we get into taking communion together, um, as a group, and saying some prayers, and then we get into the message. What's the message for the week? And I can honestly say that there hasn't been a week yet that I've been there where I haven't taken something out of what they said in the message and applied it to my own life. There's always been something that I've been able to say, "Yup, I got to do that," or "Yup, I got to do that," or "I got to make this change," or "I got to do this change," or whatever. There's always something there of substance that I can take with me, and a lot of times I actually have my phone out and I'm texting myself ideas on what I want to talk about on a podcast. I'm getting ideas while I'm sitting in church just from as they're talking and what they're talking about. Sometimes I'll do summary videos of what we discussed in church on Sundays, but I think that's gonna probably stop now because I'm gonna take the day off on Sundays now. I'm not gonna do my podcast on Sundays now as much as I want to. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna take the time to relax, recharge, and spend some time with my family, and worship. And worship. Maybe reads limit. I want to limit. The amount of time that I'm on social media on my phone and everything, and limit the amount of time I'm interacting with technology and stuff. Maybe read a little bit from the Bible or my books. Like my books that I get, like this book here that I'm still reading. You know, but I literally just ordered. I ordered like 5 more books today, or 6 more books today. I just got on a bender there and just ordered a bunch. But one of my friends posted another book that I didn't even know that John Mark Comer had written, called "Live No Lies," and he posted that with some stuff, some questions and things that he's reading that with his Bible study group. So I said, "Well, that's another book I got to buy." So I bought. As soon as I went to buy that book, then it showed there's a brand new book coming out by John Mark Comer, literally in like a week or two, and it said get notified on the list as soon as it comes out. So I put my money and paid for that book, so they'll be shipping that to me as soon as that's available too. And then there was another Christian guy who popped up on my Facebook feed, and he's been popping up over and over again. I don't have his website here. I would say it, but he he's definitely got some physical handicap issues with the way he moves around and stuff, and it's tough to watch for some people, I'm sure. But he's an author, and he wrote 4 Christian books, and they were like $10 a piece. So I went directly to his website because he makes more money that way instead of going to Amazon. And I won't get them for like 14 days, 7 to 14 business days, because he ships them out himself and does everything himself. But whatever. I'm helping the guy out, doing it that way. He makes more money that way. I'm not gonna be able to read all these books in 7 to 14 days anyway, because I got 2 other ones that are coming. So, but it's nice, to have good books. You should always keep good books around. For Sundays. That's a good thing to do on a Sunday. Is just sit there in your living room or on your porch or your deck if you have one, and just if it's nice weather out, and just sit out there in the sun and read some books, and just enjoy, take in all the beauty, and what was it again? I'm trying to get back to that word again. It was, let's see, it was to stop and delight. Stop and delight. About just, I guess, stop and appreciate, what you have, gratitude wise, and also just enjoying, like if it's a nice day, enjoying the weather, enjoying being outside, enjoying the sun, especially this time of year. Try to enjoy everything because it's going to be really super cold before we all know it. And then we're all going to be, not wanting to go outside at all, and the snow's coming and everything else. So, now's the time to get out there and enjoy being outside before we're cooped up for a couple months until the springtime comes back after winter. So, but anyway, so that's my plan, is to really try to take Sundays more seriously. And you wonder why certain businesses, make it a policy to close themselves on Sundays. Um, not just Chick-fil-A, but other businesses. There's a pizza shop that I know that we love getting pizza from, and they decided they're going to be closed on Sundays, for this reason. And it sucks because I love getting their pizza, especially on the weekends. But I understand. I get it. And I'm gonna start trying to limit my hours on Sundays too. Even though I say 7 days a week, I mean I can be, but if I can avoid the Sunday, I will. Unless there's a person that absolutely can't avoid it, then I gotta do what I gotta do. You know what I mean? But God, I think, will help me out if I try to make a concerted effort to, avoid working on Sundays and try to just relax more and reflect more and worship more and meditate more, and just spend a day, worshiping, glorifying God. Um, and it's funny because I do it every day anyway. um, I don't go to church every day because they don't have church every day, but I do worship Him every day. I do glorify Him every day. I always thank Him for everything that I have and everything that I'm grateful to have in my life. And I pray for everybody who needs prayers that I know, and um, I just try to keep that communication with Him every day, not just Sundays. And I think that's the important message here is, Sundays are important, yes, to take time and reflect and recharge and worship and go to church and do all that. But it shouldn't be the only day that you do that. You should be contacting God every day. And even if your life's going really good right now, things are going great, you're making a ton of money, and things are good at work, things are good at home, things couldn't be better in your life, you still need to be in contact with God. You need to thank Him for that. Thank Him for blessing you, the way you've been blessed. And, take some time to, bless some other people. If you're doing really well, maybe it's time for you to look at yourself and say, how can I, help out some other people? How can I give back to some other people? And it's not always money, It's not always money. There's a guy in my Bible study group. He goes into the prisons and he talks to the guys in there. They give them Bibles, I think. I can't remember if he said they do or they don't. I can't remember, but I think they give them Bibles, and he goes in and talks to them and reads scriptures with them, and spends time with them and tries to, show them that, there is another option other than doing what they were doing to get themselves put in there. And, that option is following Jesus and learning about God and changing your path, being on a path of destruction to, path to prosperity. You can do that, and there's never too late. And that's kind of, like I was talking to him, it's kind of a really good time to talk to people about God and Jesus, because they're in their timeout. They're in a timeout when they're locked up, and they got a lot of time to sit around. They got a lot of time to think, and they got a lot of time to communicate with other people too. Um, other other inmates, in the facility too. Because all you need is a couple good guys and getting them to light their lights up. Next thing they're the ones in the prisons, starting their own Bible groups and ministries, and running the show in there, and bringing more and more people into the ministry, because that's what it's all about. It's like, once you pay it forward, and once you've been saved, and once God comes and helps you, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go out and help other people find God then too. Which, again, I say it sometimes and sometimes I don't, but that's kind of the whole way this podcast even got started from the beginning. Was my intentions, are to help as many possible people out there find Christ, that that need it and need Him, because there's so many people. Everybody needs to have Christ in their life, and everybody needs to have God in their life. And the sooner you can do that, and the sooner you can become connected to Him, and really just um, have that tight relationship, where it's you and Him, and it's just, through anything, you're just together, just together, and you're gonna win it. And um, there's just no feeling like it in the world, and it's just so hard to explain to people who don't have the feeling that, how great it really is. It feels like, for people who've ever done drugs or whatever, it feels like a drug. It does. The difference is, like, it never wears off, and it always is there, and you don't have to worry about losing your consciousness and not being sober. You're sober the whole time, but you still get this warm, loving feeling, because that's what God is. God is love. God is love. God is joy. God is peace. Um, God is wisdom. God is everything, man. He's so good. And if you're sitting around and you're like, I don't like my life, I don't like my job, I don't like where I'm at, I don't like what's going on, I don't like my friends, my groups, my coworkers, my spouse, whatever. you know it's time to get God. It's time to get God through getting on your knees and saying some prayers and asking Him to come and save you, and just save you from whatever problems you have that's going on in your life, from whatever type of anxiety you're going through, whatever type of worry, stress, um, whatever type of depression, mild depression, severe depression, whatever type of substance abuse you might be having to do or deal with, alcohol, drugs, any kind of abuse you've had to go through, physical or emotional, or sexual, um, you know, those things all cause trauma, and you need to be healed through that. And you can spend time going to meet with some psychologist who got a degree at college that's all about, I know everything in the DSM book or whatever it's called, and I know how to diagnose people, and I know how to tell people what they have, and you got this disorder and this disorder, and then this is what you need to do to treat it. And God will fix everything. You don't need those people. You don't. I'm telling you, you need God. God will fix everything. God will heal everything. You just got to be honest with him. You just got to hear him. You got to listen. You got to look for him. You got to listen for him, and then you got to feel him. You got to feel him in your heart. Those are the three key things. And so just ask him to help you, ask him to save you, and then just be ready and be open. Be open for anything that's going to come your way. And it's just amazing how he works, man. Um, all I can say is expect the unexpected, because whatever you're expecting, he likes to shake it up and make it so there's no way you could have seen it coming. I think that's what he likes to do. He likes to play games with you sometimes. But it's fun. It's fun. It's a good relationship, and it's a healing relationship, and it's a way for you to learn how to live your life like Jesus, including taking off on Sundays and resting and relaxing and celebrating the Sabbath as it was intended to be celebrated, and worshiping God, you know and if you can do that and you can follow the other rules that Jesus, put out there about how to live your life, that's where the magic happens. That's where the wild stuff happens, and you start to almost live in this peace like world where it's just joy, it's just peace. There's no real stress, there's no real anxiety. Um, Things all just work out the way they're supposed to, and you just live your life by living it for Jesus in every day in every way. And one of the guys in the Bible study said, Mike, is it really just that simple? Like being kind of condescending with me, and I was like, well, I think it is really that simple. It's really that simple to sit down and say, you know, is what I'm doing right now what God wants me to be doing? And that's really it. That's the question. That's the $1,000,000 question. Is what am I doing right now what God wants me to be doing? And if the answer is no, then don't do it. If the answer is yes, then do it. And if the answer is I don't know, then you need to pray about it. And you need to talk to God about it. And He'll show you. He'll let you know in one way, shape, or form, whether it's through music, social media, other kind of email messages, you know, in a book, in a magazine, on the back of a car, on a billboard, all kinds, man. He's got messages all over the place. Maybe it'll be another person that you haven't seen in a long time that comes up and says something to you, and hits you a different way. And you're like, I wonder if that person was sent by God to talk to me and say that stuff to me. That happens to me all the time, where I meet somebody and next thing you know, they're like asking for my phone number and stuff. And I'm like, why do they need my phone number? And they tell me all about their life and where they worked and who they were, and I'm just like, okay. I was at a retirement community yesterday for a lunch and learn with a financial planner and an attorney. I was the youngest guy in there by 45 years, probably 40 years, maybe 30, maybe say 35 years. I think there were some people there in their 70s, so mid late 70s. But I met a guy. I did a tour of the facility, and I met a guy, and he was just the friendliest guy. Friendliest guy I talked to him for like 30 minutes, and he told me how he went to college at Ohio State, and and then he got a job at two different like pharmaceutical company places, and he had a PhD in microbiology, and it was just nice, But I meet people all the time that tell me stuff, and we exchange phone numbers and all. And he's like, if you ever need anything, you call me. I mean, I literally just met the guy. I just met the guy, and he's like, if you ever need anything, you call me. And he meant it too, and he meant it, and I felt it, and I could just tell he's one of them people that God put in my life to stay in touch with. So I will, and we'll see what happens from there. But that's how he communicates with you. It's just all kinds of different stuff. You got to be close with him to get the connection. So anyway, whole point of this video is take off on Sundays, relax, enjoy the Sabbath, celebrate God, worship Him, go to church, read your Bible, read some Christian books, and take some time to, unplug from electronic devices, and just relax and enjoy, And you can watch some football too. There's nothing wrong with that, A little bit, not all day, just a little bit. But anyway, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, leave me some comments. Um, Share it if you want. And thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. And God bless each and every one of you. See ya.